What's up, Outbounders? Today in this episode, we're going to tell you how to go from 0 LinkedIn connections to 1,000 LinkedIn connections. Not even this year, probably this quarter, maybe even sooner. I'm Jack.
Next week.
Yeah. I'm Jack, Chief Lead Generation Officer at salesbread.com, where we help B2B companies generate at least one lead per day. If you're stumped trying to crack a hard to reach market, head over to salesbread.com/contact, sign up for a free 15-minute outbound lead generation brainstorm session, and I'll show you what's working with starting conversations with C-level execs today. salesbread.com/contact. Booyah.
Booyah. All right, and I'm Jeremy Chatelain, founder of QuickMail.io, a super cool software to start conversation at scale, which you should check out at quickmail.io.
Heck yes. Okay, so why are we talking how to grow a LinkedIn network? One of Jeremy's team members has this dream to connect with, let's say, influencers in her field that she looks up to get some life career advice. But she's got 3 connections. So here's what she can do to go from those 3 to a meaningful network of the right people on LinkedIn. And fortunately, there's 3 steps, and Jeremy and I are going to break each one down, starting with step 1, which is start small. Jeremy, What does that mean to you? How do you start small on LinkedIn?
Well, start small means basically try to look around. You probably already have a network, whether it's friends or ex-colleagues in different companies, or even your colleagues at your own current company. Start small means reaching out to people you can already reach out, or you already had a conversation outside of LinkedIn, because chances are they got a LinkedIn profile.
That's right. So you're looking for low-hanging fruit. If you're friends with somebody, they're going to say yes to you. That's this whole concept of starting small. I'll give you some other things to think about if you don't already have a bunch of friends on LinkedIn that are ready to accept your invite. What I've done for a client who assigned a very, let's say, green sales professional who wasn't well connected, they had less than 100 contacts, is we did a mini campaign for people in the same city with the same job title. Granted, you're not going to be selling to these people, probably. It's very unlikely. But it doesn't matter. The idea in step 1 is to start small and get your first couple hundred connections under your belt. So once you've exhausted same city, same job title, and like Jeremy said, your friends, I recommend doing same state or region with the same job title. I just find it's very non-threatening. These people are generally going to see you as a peer, and they'll be happy to accept you. Expect beyond 50% invite acceptance rates at this level. Very important for your LinkedIn reputation.
Yeah, plus generally it's very non-threatening. It's basically people who are like you, so it's fine. If you're going for people you already know in life, you don't even need to scratch your head in order to find like what's a good invite, custom invite text that I could add. You could just shoot them an email saying like, hey, you're fine if I invite you. I found you on LinkedIn, fine if I invite you. Yes, no. It's an easy win. You should be comfortable with steps. And of course, unless you're a total introvert and know no one, even then, you probably have some friends anyway. But you should find easily 10, 15,
That's
20, true. 50, probably up to lower hundreds. You should be going there very comfortably.
Yeah. And one final hack in this start small step. LinkedIn does give you the option to connect your inbox to the network. It's in their interest for many reasons, but if you do that, it'll very quickly just show you people that you can connect with. I don't recommend just shotgunning that out there because there could be some people that don't actually know you well. So if you start there, just prune the list beforehand and make sure you're okay with a LinkedIn message going out. Could be an easy, quick win for you.
That's right. Shall we move to step 2?
Yes, we shall.
All right. Low-hanging fruits.
More low-hanging fruits here. But this time, you're going after low-hanging fruits in the industry that you want to sell to. For the first time, you care less about the easy connection and now about the right connection in the right industry. Because at the end of the day, it wouldn't help you at all to have 1,000 people that were totally out of your market. Okay, so now is where we go into your industry. So the easiest thing I can think of is try and join an industry specific group that still makes sense for you to be a part of. And once you join it and you get accepted, it's pretty easy to get that high acceptance rate when you say something like, hey, Susan, looks like I saw you from the online marketer community here on LinkedIn. Seems like we got some overlap and we already know some of the same people here. Hint, using your second degree network. That invite is going to get accepted a lot.
Yeah, that was my tip. Just use the second degree invite, but you can pursue the two strategies at the same time. Like, let's say, for example.
Well, hold on. I think we're talking about the same strategy. So I'm saying in the same group and in your second degree network.
Oh, I thought groups on LinkedIn.
I am saying that. So join a group on LinkedIn and then further segment that group into only people now that are in your second degree network. There should be a couple hundred if you've chosen the right group, if they've got, let's say, a couple thousand members. By this point, if you've already got 200 connections, there's probably some people that you can start with. So the idea is, as your second degree network grows and grows and grows, life gets easier. So in the beginning, and for a lot of the extended period of this outreach, never go outside that second degree.
Right. Another thing could be also to look at and comment on some of the existing posts on LinkedIn, like in your LinkedIn feed. But caveat here is like, don't spend too much time. It's probably easier to effectively comment directly within group and automatically invite everyone who replied to your post in that group. So post something on your feed, post something in groups, and whoever replied to this, just send them an invite, say, hey, thanks for connecting. Just wanted to ask you an extra thing or something like that. And then just get the thing. Again, it's non-threatening because they engage with you first. And if you're good at opening conversations that way, then that should be an easy sell, an easy win.
I'll put a small caveat here is you may find people engage with your posts that are not in your industry. So you may want to vet them at this stage because remember, you're trying to infiltrate an industry here. Maybe that's not the right word, but it sort of is. And the more connections you have within an industry, the easier that industry gets to reach. Right.
Right. Spy mode. Hey, there's another thing we didn't talk as well that will happen at this stage is bots. Now, bots in themselves are usually very low value, but you will passively receive a lot of invites. Like, hey, we're in the same industry, can you accept? Most of them are bots, and they are on LinkedIn in order to enable the bot to have access to a broader network. So people are trying to grab the data, your data including, but at the same time, it will raise your profile in terms of number of connections, which will make you more legit for inviting other people. So consider those inbound invites as well. Even though they may not be the top quality, they may effectively serve your purpose overall.
In the beginning. You may need to go back and prune your list, but this conversation is just how to get to the first 1,000. So that's right. By the time you finish step 2, you should have close to 500 connections. 400 to 500 connections is what you should go for when you're still targeting groups, still targeting second degree industry connections. And I'll mention one last thing at this second stage. I'm actually okay with going after people with all kinds of job titles as long as they're in that correct industry, because there's chances are, let's say it's an office manager in the San Francisco tech space, they probably will be connected to a whole lot of people that you would want to reach out to. So at step 2, I don't care so much about titles. I'm trying to infiltrate the industry. I'm not quite ready to target dream prospects yet, which is step 3. Jeremy, are we ready to go there?
Yeah, one last thing I would say is if you can still carry on the same strategy that you had at step 1, which means you may actually have your network growing automatically either by doing demos or doing conversation with other people in the industry. Just make it a habit to just say, is it fine if I send you a LinkedIn invite? I saw you there as well, in order to stay connected. Most of the time people will say yes, and so you can, safely send your invite.
Mic drop. Okay, step 3.
Show us that slide. My mic.
Show us that slide.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't share the screen. Here we go. Step 3.
Dream connections. At step 3, you've got 400 to 500 first degree connections, and now you're ready to actually target people that you intend to sell to later. Okay, that's an important distinction, sell to later. If you try and sell to people while you connect with them, that's typically going to shoot yourself in the foot. Why? Because nobody wants to get pitched to, and if that's what your invite message is, you've done a bad job using the platform incorrectly. Okay, so
right.
Now I make it really simple. What you want to do is build a list of the accounts that you want to do business with. Hopefully there's a couple thousand of them. Okay, and then what you do after that is you look at second degree connections at those companies that start to have the right department, that start to have the right keyword in their job title, so that now everyone who accepts your message sees that you've got some shared connections because they're second degree, and there's somebody that you would like to do business with. These are dream connections here. So Jeremy, in the case of your team member, these are the people, the rock stars, so to speak, that you would love to engage with, get to know on a closer basis to get some advice. If you're selling and more a traditional BDR role, these are people that you would like to eventually have become clients or users or customers, whatever the word is at your office. But that's the idea.
That's right. And because at some point you're going to reach this 500 and LinkedIn doesn't display more than 500, it's fine to start pruning the people that you didn't really want in your network, because I think we discussed as well that in the episode with Nathaniel, is that
Nathaniel Bibby, yeah.
Yeah, it's that it's best if you have, a clear sort of industry with which you're actually linked, and so therefore your message will be better propagated around this specific industry.
That's right. So we need to take a moment to talk about LinkedIn's algorithm for a moment.
Yeah, can I give just one quick example? Is if you actually have people in all various industry and suddenly you message or you send something in your feed that is super interesting to real estate, for example, but you have also, investment banking or video game developer in your network, those people won't be interested. They won't engage as much with your feed. And so therefore the algorithm of LinkedIn won't necessarily favor you as much as they would otherwise. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You just spoke about the algorithm. That's perfect. So the idea is it's almost better to have a smaller network that really likes what you have to say.
Exactly.
If that's the case, LinkedIn's going to send you and your content to the moon, so to speak.
Dude, you're saying it's so much better than me. Thank you.
No, what can I was a poet in my other life, Jeremy. It's nothing. Okay, so yeah, you're targeting dream prospects. I still recommend keeping it to second degree people or folks that you've met, folks that you've met outside of the internet. Not that it happens anymore these days, but that's the idea. People ask, should we go after third degree connections? And I tell them, not really. Unless you've got a very
you
good
shouldn't
angle.
need to, honestly, because there isn't like so many level, different connection between one person in the world and someone else. I think there's 6 degrees or 7 degrees maximum. So technically, if you keep on repeating this step, technically you shouldn't need to, right? You go to the second degrees, those who accept will give you access to other people again. And so that way you shouldn't really need to.
I pulled up some numbers here because I was curious what the correlation to first degree network gives you for second degree network. So one source on stackexchange.com says if you've got a large first degree network, let's say 19,000 people, it means that your second degree network will be over 4 million people. So there's like some multiple there. It's I'm not able to crunch that number on the fly, but it's a lot. That's probably understated, to be honest. I think it's if you've got 1,000, you have reach of like I would imagine half the network or something like that. Depends who you're connected to, which is why going back to step 2, it's important to be industry focused. But it really makes a big difference. There's one exception why you wouldn't go only second degree, and that is people that engage with your posts. Jeremy, I think if that happens, by all means, send them an invite. That's very let's say, LinkedIn friendly. They would like to see that kind of activity happen. And number two is if you've got a very defined market and you have no choice but to go after third degrees, I would say it's risky, but you've got two things in your favor. One, like we talked about, it's a very small market, so you're not going to be flooding LinkedIn with all kinds of abusive invites. And number two, it's a small market, so you can afford to really throw in more personalization than anyone else can possibly justify. So use small to your advantage if you must. I'm looking at you. If you've got a market of 1,000 companies or fewer, there's quite a lot of them out there, but keep that in mind, and you should be in good shape to grow your network from 0 to 1,000. How we do, Jeremy?
Very
Did we
good.
miss anything?
The last thing I would say is do remove your all invites. If after a month people didn't reply to an invite, just remove it. It's like prune it. It's a good practice. Otherwise, you may experience some LinkedIn hammer coming back at you.
Bada boom, bada boom. I have one last comment to add, and this goes as a fourth argument to using second-degree networks. There's a stat, you can Google for it, but if I'm remembering correctly, LinkedIn did an analysis of the connections and conversations that took place on their network, and they said that you have a 5x chance of landing a meeting with someone in your second degree compared to those in your third degree or beyond. So they didn't just say 5x better acceptance rate. They're saying 5x better meeting rate, which is the thing that I pay a lot of attention to, because at the end of the day, connections are meaningless. Phone calls, demos, that kind of thing is worth quite a lot if you can tie that into some business, which I think is why most of us are tuning in. And keep that in mind.
Well said. My light is
Cool.
off, so it's time to call it a day.
All right, Jeremy, great cast. Thanks.
Great
If
cast.
you're listening, go try that out. Go do some LinkedIn connecting and use it to your advantage.